why I would not buy a commercial property in my own name. Number one reason that I would not buy commercial property in my own name is the asset protection. There is no asset protection if I buy property in my own name, because if somebody sues me, then they can grab that property, or other vice versa is also true. It means if my tenant sues me for whatever reason, then my personal assets is going to be up for grab. So because there is no asset protection, I would not buy a commercial property in my own name. The second reason that I would not buy a commercial property in my own name is the profit distribution. So if I buy property in my own name, then once that commercial property start making money, and whatever cash flow that is coming, that will come on top of my personal income, and eventually I have to pay the highest marginal tax. So government, as we know, in Australia, is the highest marginal tax rate is up to 47-49%. So that means I have to pay almost half of that income from that commercial property as part of my tax. And this is simply because I am a high income person, so my personal income is already high, and on top of that, if that commercial property income comes in, I have to pay almost 49% of that tax. So that's the reason I do not want to purchase a commercial property which is generally high income, which is a high cash flow, in my own personal name. And the third reason that I would not buy a commercial property in my own name is the loan will be against my name. Like as you know, that if you borrow money from the bank, is the purchaser entity who is purchasing that property, the loan will be against that. If you're buying in a company, then the loan is in that company. Of course, if the company has just been set up, you might have to be a guarantor, and being a guarantor, you are guaranteeing the loan, doesn't mean that the loan is on your name. And that's the fundamental difference, because then I can pass it on more and more stuff into company or different entities rather than everything on my own name. So this is one of the very important point that I would like to touch on, because once you understand that why I don't want to buy commercial property in my own name, the reason is that yes, the bank is going to give me a number of amount of loans once I have the deposit if I buy that property in a different entity, versus if I buy in my own name, then all the loan comes to me. So A, B, C, D, let's say 4 properties I bought, all 4 properties loans, and all 4 are in my own personal name, and then at one point of time bank will say, nah, I would not lend you anymore. But if I purchase in a different entity, then because the loan is not my name, it's easier for me to borrow more and more money, which is the reason I do not want to buy a commercial property in my own personal name. And the next one is capital gain tax discount. Now we all know that if we buy property in our own name, then we get a 50% capital gain tax discount, provided we are holding that property for more than 12 months. Whether it's a residential property, whether it's a commercial property, is the same. Now the point is that if I buy a commercial property in my own name, and then after let's say 12 months or 12 years or 6 years, whenever time, if I ever sell that property, then the whole 50% capital gain tax discount came, but the other 50% I have to pay the tax. So let me give you an example. Let's say if I'm buying a property of $1 million today, and then 10 years down the line it becomes $2 million, and if I sell that $2 million property, then that $1 million, that the capital gain, 50% of $1 million, I will get that capital gain tax discount, but the other 50% I have to pay tax with my marginal rate. And as I said earlier, that because I'm a high income earner person, so that 500,000 will be added on top of my personal income. So that means roughly about 50% of that will be given to the government as form of tax. But if I buy that property in a separate entity, then that entity will pay the tax, and hence I do not have to worry about paying so much amount of tax. So that's one of the reasons that I do not want to buy commercial property in my own name. So these are the reasons why you should be thinking twice before you purchase a property in your own name. Like I personally prefer that commercial property should be a separate entity, whether it's a company or it's a family trust or unit trust, or even if you set it up SMSF, separate thing. But mostly, ideally, I would not buy any commercial property in my own personal name. I hope you find this video helpful. If you like this video, consider subscribing my channel. Turn the notification bell on so you get to see more videos like this, and it also helps me to reach out to more people like you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.